Someone insults you in front of others. Your heart races, your face flushes. Every cell in your body signals a powerful need to react. However, the person next to you just heard the same insult and didn't even blink. Same words, same situation, two completely different reactions. What did they know that you didn't? There's a psychological technique used by therapists to deal with toxic people that most of us have never heard of. It's not about being tough. If anyone dares to insult me, I will insult them back. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about understanding how conflict actually works, and why most of us are playing the game completely wrong. In this video, I'm going to show you why people try to provoke you in the first place, the hidden pattern behind every toxic interaction. And at the end, I'll reveal the exact method that makes you psychologically unbotherable. But first, you need to understand what's really happening when someone attacks you. Here's what nobody tells you about conflict. Most arguments aren't about winning.
Here's what nobody tells you about conflict. Most arguments aren't about winning.
Maybe they made a passive-aggressive comment. Maybe they questioned your intelligence or mocked something you cared about. Therefore, you felt that surge of emotion, right? That need to respond. To correct them? To prove your point? That feeling? That's exactly what they wanted. Yeah, you definitely will get that job. Are you sure that 1 + 1 is 2? That's why your father left you. Because here's the truth. Toxic people don't attack you because they hate you. They attack you because they're starving for something they can't create themselves. They attack you because they're basically trying to get a reaction out of you. Emotional energy, validation, a sense of power. When you react, when you engage, when you fight back, you're not standing up for yourself. You're feeding them what they're starving for. Every sharp reply you give, every frustrated explanation, every moment you spend justifying your worth to them is fuel. You think you're defending yourself? However, you're actually giving them exactly what they came for. Shut your mouth! None of what you said is true! I have a good job and I'm happily married! Your attention, your time, your emotional investment. Like that coworker who raises his voice in meetings, knowing you'll defend yourself.
But then one day, you stay silent. He freezes mid-sentence. The game ends.
I bet James didn't do the work again.
I did. Because without your reaction, there's nothing left to play. They throw the same bait over and over because they know you'll bite.
A provocative text at midnight, a subtle insult wrapped in a joke, a question designed to make you explain yourself. But what is even happening? Why does that? They don't want answers. They want sparks. David, your presentation's quality was just like James' work. Haha.
But then something interesting happens. You meet someone who doesn't take the bait.
Someone who hears the insult and treats it like background noise. Someone who can sit in a room full of passive aggression and remain completely at ease.
They're not ignoring the toxicity, they're just refusing to participate in it.
What's their secret? They understand something crucial. You cannot win a game you refuse to play. But if reacting isn't the answer, what is? So if reacting only makes things worse, why do we keep doing it? Because we've been taught that silence equals weakness. We've been told that if you don't defend yourself, people will walk all over you. That if you let an insult slide, you're basically agreeing with it. Therefore, we engage. We explain. We argue. We try to make them understand. However, here's the problem. It's not what you think. You don't get it. What I'm trying to say is, I can't reason with you. Think about it. How many times have you lost your peace just to prove you were right?
And how many times did you actually win? Not gonna say anything? In those heated moments, they're not listening to your words. They're feeding off your emotion.
The more you explain yourself, the more power you give them. Every justification is another thread they can pull. Every defense is another opening for attack. You think you're standing your ground, but you're actually handing them the map to your vulnerabilities. And here's what makes it worse. The people who provoke you most are often the ones who know you best.
They know which buttons to push. They know what you're insecure about.
They know exactly how to phrase something to get under your skin. An ex who texts you, knowing you'll analyze it for hours. A family member who brings up your failures disguised as concern. These people fish with emotions, not words.
They're just searching for something that shakes you because that makes them feel in control. You had failed college last year, so be sure to study hard this time.
If this is hitting home, like and subscribe, because the next part changes everything. So what's the alternative? How do you protect yourself without becoming cold or disconnected? You become strategically uninteresting. This is the part most people get wrong about detachment. They think it means shutting down, building walls, cutting people off. However, that's just another form of reaction. True power isn't in how loudly you can respond or how dramatically you can exit.
It's in how little someone's chaos can move you.
Be like Wi-Fi. If they can't connect to you, they can't drain your energy. Imagine this. Someone throws an insult your way, expecting a reaction. But instead of defending yourself, instead of arguing back, you respond with something completely neutral. Interesting perspective. Interesting perspective. I hear you. I hear you. What just happened? You refused to give them the emotional charge they were seeking.
You didn't attack back, so they can't play victim.
You didn't defend yourself, so they have nothing to argue against. You became present, but unreactive, visible, but unengaging. This isn't about being passive. This is about being selective with your energy. Because here's what happens when you stop feeding toxic patterns.
They eventually starve. The person who used to get a rise out of you with a single comment now has to work harder.
Therefore, they escalate, trying to provoke a bigger reaction. But when that doesn't work either, something shifts. They get bored. They move on. They find someone else who will give them the drama they crave. When you stop reacting to sarcasm or provocation, you realize you've just won back an entire day of peace. You didn't have to fight. You didn't have to explain. You just refused to participate in a game designed to drain you. But how do you actually do this when your emotions are screaming? That's where the method comes in. All right, here's the actual technique. The thing therapists teach their clients when dealing with narcissists, manipulators, or anyone who thrives on emotional chaos.